Hi folks, so uh, I've shared this about myself before in other talks. It's about one of my older brothers that growing up, I would say every day he bullied me, every single day. I mean, as far as I can remember, you know. And he was aggressive, he was violent to me, physically violent. He was manipulative, played tricks on me, just was, and he was bigger than me, and he would pin me down, and he would put my hand, my arm behind my back in a lock type of thing, and and he would, I don't know how to explain it, when someone puts their hand, behind your back, and then pulls it up, and sort of stretches it, and it's sore, and he would do that, and he would increase the pressure, slowly and slowly, and there was I didn't stand a chance with this guy, to fight him or anything like that. And there was times where I remember, like, out of just sheer frustration, I threw a Game Boy at him. It smashed against the wall, it missed him. And I remember, out of another time of sheer frustration, he was running away from me, and I had a screwdriver in my hand, and had I caught him, I probably would have stabbed him. I'm serious, folks. That's how hectic it was. And he managed to close his bedroom door, and I just remember driving that screwdriver through the door, and whatever it was, which obviously got me into a lot of trouble with my parents. And again, me being out of hand. And my father was never really around. He was always at the office, and he didn't want to be bothered. And my mother, she had enough on her plate to get involved, and whatever it was. And so I was left on my own. And the thing is that I was also seen as the problem child. I see that I was too emotional, I was overreacting, I was, just being difficult. It wasn't seen, my parents, it didn't suit them to see that they have a troubled child, a bully of a child. They didn't want to see it, because they obviously didn't want to see why the child, my older brother, was being a bully, and how their upbringing and the family situation was causing him to be a bully. What kind of individual was he? What was lacking in his life, or what was wrong that he is being a bully to his younger brother, being nasty and being physically violent to him. I mean, leaving him with bruises, sprained wrists. My brother would easily, go hit me in the face, punch me in the face. It wasn't an issue of, like kids just playing and grappling or something like that. And no, it wasn't. I mean, if he felt that he was losing at any stage, or I was getting a better position, then he would do whatever he had to. It didn't matter. We're no longer brothers tackling or even having that kind of fight, wrestling. It became sort of a street fight. Okay? And so for myself, I was undermined by my parents, truly and really, and they didn't stick up for me. Okay? And they didn't acknowledge my feelings and the abuse that I was suffering, and the trauma. I'm saying literally trauma. I mean, to be beaten up. I mean, if you go to school and you have the school bully, he doesn't pick on you every day, maybe, and not all the time, and you're not looking over your shoulder. I mean, maybe you are, but it's not extreme with the bully living in your house. Just constantly also playing nasty tricks on you. Like, I know kids will be kids, but like, setting up traps in the garden, so digging a hole and then putting a piece of cardboard over it with grass so it didn't look like there was a hole there, and then just walking with me, willy-nilly, then I'm falling into the hole, and him laughing. And I mean, a deep hole can be dangerous. I remember another time with Sprite, we never used to be able to get cool drinks, like pop drinks or fizz, whatever, soda drinks, and such as Sprite or Coke. And one day, he says, "I've got some Sprite for you." And he had a 2-liter bottle, and he said, "But don't let Mom know that I'm giving it to you." And what he did was he poured, I don't know, probably a cup of salt into the Sprite. It was only a little bit left, and he was like, "But you got to drink it fast, so come with me to my room and just quickly drink it, And I was drinking, and then and then I realized it was salt, and I almost vomited all over the place. And for him, that was funny, right? And so he would egg me on, and he would frustrate me. And when I would lose my cool, I could see that's when he actually felt at peace. I did a talk about this as well, about how people love chaos, how they love to see other people suffering, and it calms them down. It really does, folks, in a very sick way. We watched Quentin Tarantino movies where we like to see people being mutilated, having their ears cut off, their eyes gouged out, their testicles burned with a blowtorch or something like that, and we enjoy that. We enjoy these scenes where somebody is, a superior person is is hurting an inferior person. And I think we imagine ourselves being the superior person. We imagine ourselves being the person in power who's causing the harm to the other person, and so it gives us a sense of power and peace in a way. It empowers us to a certain degree. And so my brother would like to, okay, that's something different, but my brother, he enjoyed seeing me suffer, and he would enjoy seeing me in pain, okay? And there's reasons for why he was the way that he is, and I think that's because he was completely overlooked himself by my parents, and he wasn't an A student. He was very much underperformer, social skills not great, if any, just concentration not really there, just somebody who was not necessarily going to be a successful student, popular guy, and all-rounder. And so, he was abandoned, and he was betrayed, and by his parents. He was orphaned, just like I was, because I wasn't the favorite, in a sense, and I don't even know if there was a favorite. Even there wasn't time for a favorite. I don't think my father was around enough for there to be a favorite, and my mother had too much on her plate for even to consider favoritism. I don't think my mother is that way inclined, okay? But anyways, so this abuse happened for me daily and severely, in a severe way. And I remember just sprained wrists, bruises all over, jaw almost being dislocated by him punching me, and many other things. And so this bully continued most of his, our lives, and even in our later years, I'm saying when me being, say, maybe 10 years ago or something like that, or even not that long ago, 5 years ago, when I was visiting my mother at a dinner, it was a smart dinner occasion, and, he would try and just, while I was holding the fancy dinner plate with my food, he would try and hit me in the ribs. He goes through these moments where he just sees me as a punching bag. He sees me as an opportunity to take out his, whatever else is going on for him in that day, for his, it's his healing. Him abusing me is his healing, right? And that sounds, it's not true healing, but that pacifies him, that makes him feel good by inflicting pain upon me. And every once a year or every couple of months, when I spent too much time with him, he would try and do something. And the thing is that he would lose control by doing it. Okay, so like if his child is playing with one of these heavy, sort of metal cars, right? And he doesn't care. He's a lost case. He would throw that car at me. Right, and I'm saying it's a heavy metal car. This is even 2 years ago or something like that, in front of his child. He doesn't care. He loses it. He gets so high. He gets so turned on by being able to see me in pain that he loses all morality, all sense of space and time, or responsibility, or how's his children going to see this? How's it going to appear to them, etc., etc. It's ghastly to see. It's actually disturbing to see how he regresses into that state where, it's almost like a gluttonous, overweight man, extremely overweight, hasn't eaten for like a week and finally gets a buffet, of food or whatever it is, and he just goes wild. He absolutely stuffs himself, he loses it, or something like that, yeah. the monster comes out. The monster, comes out. The bull in the china shop comes out. It's like, it's a salivation for him, in a way. If you want to go that deep, it really is. He salivates. I'm sure, turns him on. It could probably, cause an erection or something like that. Not because there's an aliveness, and there's like an excitement, whatever, a thrill. There's a thrill. I'm going to be able to unleash all of my other suppression and everything else where I'm not feeling powered in my life, where I'm being manipulated by others, where I'm feeling inferior, right, or whatever it is. I'm being mistreated. I can take it all out. Here it is. Here's the part of the end of the rainbow. This is it. This is my fix, basically. Okay, because he's been hardwired like a drug addict to get that satisfaction by inducing pain to me. Okay? And so why I bring this up is because I work with this guy in a way. He's in charge of the warehouse, and I don't give too many details of which brother I'm talking about. But in a way I don't even care. I don't care, So I'm not even bothered. It's like, I don't like the guy. This is my issue that I want to get into. He pulls stunts with me all the time, where it costs me massively in a financial way. In fact, my whole income is in question by him, because he sees an opportunity whereby he can, let's say I'm waiting on stock or something like that, and he can try and deliberately delay the stock or reduce the amount of stock. He tries wherever he can to sabotage me. I've spoken about him a few weeks ago or months ago in another talk of mine where, he did something it's so bad. He was basically threatening to kill my whole business, literally. Alright, and again, when I take it to my father's like, no, you don't understand, he's got the best intentions. You see, so my father's playing out the whole denial situation, of course, right? And so that doesn't help either. But my father is in charge of the business in the company that I get the stock from, but my brother's in charge of the warehouse. So my brother just sees it as an opportunity, right, that he can try and block me and stop me wherever he possibly can. And so anyways, a few months ago, I had it out with him, and then he's like still very confused. It's like, why are you so upset with me? I said, because you're trying to kill my business. And then he justifies it, and he lies. He says, no, you don't understand, I didn't mean it like that. Or he won't even try and understand. He'll just say, he just will change the subject, or he'll laugh at me. He'll say, oh, you take it too personally, it's just business. He becomes the coward, because he is such a coward. It's disgraceful what a coward and small, little, pathetic man he is. Not even a man, little boy. I have this rage towards him. I know it's inside of me. I've been dealing with it my whole life. I've been having it my whole life. I have this, what's the word? There is a type of vengeance. There's another word for it. Whereby, I can't think of the word, maybe it'll come to me. But yeah, there is this, and whenever he does something, it triggers me. And I know I get no joy from my father. And, for my mother, it just breaks her heart. Like, I talk to my mother because I'm close to her, relatively, and so I'll talk to her about it, and, for her, it just breaks her heart. She's like, I can't, I understand where you're coming from, and I know that she's the type of guy, whatever it is, but, can't you do this, and can't you do that? And I'm like, and I say to my mother, I will not suppress my anger. I will not suppress these emotions of mine, I will not suppress my rage towards him. My feeling of seeking revenge somehow or another. Literally, when he pisses me off, I feel like going with a couple of guys and some baseball bats. I've spoken about this before, and literally giving him such a hiding. like such a hiding. But I've spoken about it before. He is so removed from his actions and what he's doing, right? It's like an alcoholic or a drug addict that's in complete denial. They're so removed from it that even if you had to give them the punishment that is fitting for the crime that they do, they would claim that they did no crime. They would claim that you completely in the wrong, like you completely misunderstand. It's like that's how dysfunctional and disassociated my brother is. Okay? And so it doesn't help from other family members and people coming along and be like, well, you brothers, I can't stand that shit. I can't stand when people say, no, blood is thicker than water. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what to say about that, folks, because it is such bullshit, and it's so problematic, and it's so gaslighting to whatever you might be going through. I mean, you see this. It's like when brothers, are and they must just bury the hatchet and move on and forgive. And I want to get into this thing of forgiveness. Why the hell should I forgive my brother? Why should I forgive him? Because all I'm doing by forgiving him, and see, this is the problem with forgiveness. If I'm forgiving my brother, then I'm suppressing everything that I'm feeling inside, all that rage, all of that built up fury, right? The madness that it makes me feel inside, in my veins, in my fists, where I feel like I can go punch his teeth out, whatever it is. And that's, I'm just suppressing it by forgiving him and saying that what he's done is okay and what he continues to do is okay because I forgive you. You are my bro, you are my brother, and therefore I forgive all the trauma that you've caused me. I forgive you all the pain, all the times that you've gotten high off inflicting pain and sabotaging me. I forgive you because you're for what? Why would I forgive him? He hasn't repented, he hasn't asked for forgiveness. In fact, he doesn't see or feel or think that he's done anything wrong. Why? By forgiving him, I'm suppressing myself. And I'm denying how I feel from and what's been happening for me. And then by forgiving him, I'm saying that his actions, he will stop what his actions are doing. That because I'm letting it go. I mean, I'm letting my guard down. I'm extending love, to him, and I'm exposing myself. You see? Forgiveness. Do me a favor. You can take forgiveness and shove it up the rear end. All this forgiveness. Turn the other cheek. If I understand that saying correctly. Exactly. Turn the other cheek so they can slap you on the other side. So they can give you a fresh one. Because they've just been slapping you on the one cheek. Now you've got to turn the other side so they can slap you more. Right. Correct. That sounds very healthy. That sounds like somebody who really values themselves and really taking care of themselves. It's like, come on, abuse me. I mean, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Anyways, so I'm saying for myself, something happened yesterday, and it just it gutters me. It hits me so hard, hey, and I feel so helpless because my father's not going to do anything. My brother doesn't care. He's just getting high off it. My mother is indifferent. And so I feel like I'm helpless. And so one of the things I'm deciding to do is actually, stop this business that I'm doing with my brother, with my family. Even though I've got 12 people employed, right? Even more than that. And it's my income. But I'm saying it's not worth it anymore. I just don't feel it's worth it. I just don't feel it's healthy for me. It's coming to me at that cost. Because this piece of shit, asshole, narcissistic, pathological, disassociated, small, pathetic, infantile, juvenile person. That's the thing. I've got such a fury for my brother. I can't tell you sometimes when I tap into this emotion, how I feel like again I can take a blowtorch to his testicles and enjoy every single moment of it. And sometimes I say that to my mother and she gets really worried. You know, like, will I really act upon it? And I say, no, I won't act upon it. But obviously, if he comes directly and steps on my toes, right, then all hell will be unleashed. I can tell you, I won't be able to help myself. You know, I don't know. And I know there's all laws in place where you're not, you know, if you hit somebody, you can go to jail over it or whatever it is, you know. So I'd be clever about it. Because I can imagine that kind of guy, in order to win, he'll do anything in order to win. You know, he'll do, like I say, he's willing to bankrupt me. He doesn't care. He will laugh all the way to the bank on his own side if he had to, you know, put me in bankruptcy. If he had to see me sleeping on the streets, lying, begging on the streets, it would bring him nothing but pleasure. You know, so sometimes my father asks me, why do you have such hatred in your heart towards your brother? And I'm like, man, I can't even begin to explain to you, because it's, you know, you're not on the same wavelength. It's just not going to happen. Sorry, my man, sorry. Right, and if you really want to know, because the way that he asks the question is not like sincerely, like, why is it that you have such a hatred towards him? Like, what's going on? Like, what has he done to you? Explain to me. It's more like, why do you have this hatred for your brother? You know, so it's already starting on that premise. It's like, forget about it. Anyways, folks, so what I'm saying is that I don't know. I got to have nothing to do with this piece of shit. You know, with this detritus of a person. You know, I can't look at him and feel sorry for him that he's had the childhood that he had. I can't excuse his behavior. I can't excuse that he's asleep. I can't excuse that he's conditioned, that he's also been traumatized, and I can't excuse his evil. I cannot excuse and justify his evil. I cannot say that he is not responsible on some way or another. You know, whether he's unconscious or, you know, or whatever, asleep, blinded to his actions, I cannot say that it is allowed. You know, I cannot say it because it affects me directly. I cannot excuse it. You know what I mean? I cannot rise above it and say, well, he's here to teach me a lesson and a reason about what, you know, about my own strength, which is true in a way. Right, but I'm not grateful to him for that. For him, what I'm grateful for is absolutely sweet bugger all to the tyrant. You know, you can forget about it. But yes, it's an opportunity for me to grow, but I'm not going to be misguided and say, well, you know, it's my brother, he's given me this opportunity. No, bullshit, he's come to teach me something. Yes, he's come to teach me about how you can really loathe and despise somebody in your very bloody core, you know, really. And some of you might be sitting out there and be like, well, if anything, heaven forbid, have to happen to your brother, then maybe you'll regret what you're saying. And maybe I would, but I'm not holding out for that. I wouldn't be happy if anything bad happens to him, right? I wouldn't be happy, and I'm indifferent for him if he makes another, if, you know, he buys himself another Porsche or whatever it is and he's doing so well. I don't care. It's not about that. So you see, for myself, it's like, so what do I do for me now, right? What is this about for me? Because I've got to release all of this, and I'm on the process of learning. I've got no answers here yet. I've got no ideas here yet, but I have to get rid of this. I have to detox of this situation, of the emotions. I need to let it go. I need to heal from it. I'm not yet sure how to do it. I'm on the course of doing it, and I know that it won't necessarily help by just beating the crap out of my brother or something. I know that won't happen. I mean, I know that won't be any solution, but I got to do this healing, and it's painful, deep wounded stuff that I know I need to clear up. I know that it's there, but it is just so exhausting. It takes the wind out of me. It takes all the energy. It saps me like you cannot believe. I don't know, maybe some of you folk do know what you know. You do know what I'm talking about. Anyways, folks, there'll probably be another part on this as well, but I'll leave it at that for now. And if you have similar experiences, I dare you to share them in the comment section. That way I might get more than 2 or 3 comments on a video. Alright, take care.